in the book of Revelation, John wrote, "Let him who has understanding calculate the number of the beast, because his number is the number of a man, and his number is 666. Now, it was written in Greek, and then Latin was the common language at that time. And so, if you took the Latin alphabet, tell me if you agree with this. Latin alphabet, A, B, C, D, just like English alphabet, exactly, just pronounced differently. So A, B, C, D. And if you took the word computer, which is Latin for computato, to compute, to calculate. Computer, C, right? A, B, C, so it's the third one. So on and so forth. You go and you add up all the letters, multiply them by 3, which is the Holy Trinity, you get 666 for the word computer. What are your thoughts on that? Just a coincidence, or there's some connection?
There's a possible connection. If you think about it like this, our computers are actually possibly our destruction.
Amen to that.
We are creating computers that can actually be turned into machines and people. You are going to have a machine that looks like a person at one point.
Or a drone that will be
we
watching.
We already have drones that are computer controlled. We've already got aircraft that's computer controlled. We've got ships on the ocean that are computer controlled. We've got cars that are computer controlled. Imagine a system that actually starts thinking for itself, and then all that can create more havoc.
Yeah. See, Anthony, let's connect those dots with the story, the biblical story. When Jesus was born in the manger, the 3 wise men, the Magi, they came from the east and they followed the star. There is no way they could have stopped. The stars are above us. So is it possible that star that stopped right above the manger, that beamed the light, was an aircraft, a technological device?
There's a very, very big possibility. It could have been a celestial being from another planet at one point that actually had the presumption of being holy. As we don't know what the word holy means entirely. As far as we know, it could be some being from another world that is actually just clad in white, because their body might actually be part of their star system.
And in the book of Ezekiel, when Ezekiel himself described he called it, they only had the vocabulary was like 200 words. Imagine average vocabulary today, average person, 35,000 words. He had 200 words to describe it. So let's just give him some credit. He said, a chariot of God came with a wheel within a wheel, rotating in the opposite direction with blue lights. And inside those wheels was somebody sitting like an angel in what we would describe today as a helmet. And wherever he looked, that's where the chariot would go. Isn't that something? Like the Apache helicopter guidance system, wherever the pilot looks, that's where the gun or whatever, the cannon that looks, or there's some kind of a guiding system looks with the direction of the head, right? What are your thoughts on that? Could Ezekiel was witnessing a very advanced, let's just call it alien craft, or it's technology, it's not these mysterious beings like angels with feathers, the wings, that's like their way of describing they could fly through space. It doesn't necessarily mean that they have wings. What are your thoughts on that, about Ezekiel's vision of the chariot of God with blue lights?
Well, in all honesty, there's been more than one version of it. There's been versions of it looking like a cigar. People's explained that they've looked like a cigar. They've looked like space rocks. They've looked like strange flying spheres, or they've looked like balls of light. The balls of light has been around for a long time, and they're actually a derivative of what possibly created us.
Kind of like the analysis of every miracle, every single miracle or healing that Jesus performed in the New Testament, every single one of them, he always asked, do you believe I can do this or not? And they usually said, yes, Lord. And he said, let this be it unto your faith, meaning because you believed, you're going to receive what you asked for. But he never said, without asking that question, be healed. He said, do you believe I can do that? Why do you think he asked that question?
Probably because at that point, he was probably somebody from another area of the universe, and he got sent down.
Much more advanced.
And much more advanced. So the word belief is probably at that point the trigger word for him saying, make this happen.
So Anthony, this is the moment. I hope the battery will not die. I hope the sun will still be shining. Right now we're discovering something that every person that is a spiritual seeker wants to know. We're just slowly approaching this subject. So now this is like the holy grail of everything. So I hope we could just sort of finish this up, because this is priceless, Anthony. So now we've talked about it, the technology, Jesus being perhaps an advanced human being, not just what the Bible says, the Son of God, but maybe that's the only definition they could have at that time, 2,000 years ago. But Jesus walked through walls, according to the New Testament, to see his disciples. And if you were there, Anthony, and you were one of his followers or even disciples, one of the 12, let's just say that, and you witnessed with your own eyes what he could do, and he walked on the water, he calmed the storm when they were crossing some body of water.
The ocean, basically.
Right. If you were there, and would you have sort of said, "You're the Lord, whatever you tell me, I'm going to follow you"? Or would you say, "Well, let's analyze this a little bit. How did you do this? How did you do that?" What would be your reaction?
I would ask questions. I would not freak out. I would ask questions.
And if he would have explained them to you, what would be your sort of, would you become his follower, or would you say, no big deal, not for me?
Well, it depends on the hypothetical situation.
No, I mean, he just simply said he came up to you, God forbid, but let's say he cured your mother. She was ill, right? So, and you witnessed with your own eye, your mother got healed, and she had, God forbid, terminal illness, and you witnessed it again and again and again, and you followed him everywhere, and you witnessed, you said, who is this man? What would be your assessment of him and desire to follow him?
Well, at that point in time, it depends on how I would feel, because everybody's different.
Mm-hmm.
I could believe everything that he does,
mm-hmm.
but I might not follow.
Mm-hmm.
Or at that time of those events, I would probably be one of those people that would follow and watch and keep an eye on it.
The 12 disciples?
And actually learn how to do it for myself. Because the more you learn, the more you can do.
Yeah, and remember, the disciples at some point, when they got angry at some villagers that didn't accept their message, they were going to send curses down on that village. And Jesus stopped them and says, you have no idea what manner of spirit you are controlling. He said, yes, you will send curses and they will be killed, they will be destroyed, but I'm not here to destroy, I'm here to bring peace. So in other words, he taught them something. So no matter what they say, it's going to materialize. He taught them a methodology, right? So because he did that, and you're analytical, I'm analytical, and those people were 2,000 years ago, they only spoke, if 200 words, that would be lucky. I mean, can you imagine for him, from a different realm, he could walk on the water, heal the sick, and these people could not understand but basic, yes, no, I'm hungry. Can you begin to understand the frustration of him? Somebody at that level coming down, and the only way he could, it says in the Bible, he raised their awareness by opening their spirits supernaturally, because they were just literally like animals walking around. They didn't understand anything about anything, right? Now, if he were to open up your mind and say, okay, Anthony, now you will see all things and you will be my follower to the ends of the earth, and you will proclaim the message, the good news that, salvation of man, if you will do this and this and this and this and this. And then in your mind, everything will make sense. And this is the message that we today know as Christianity, but it's coded, and it's coded by him who came from that advanced place that we cannot even understand right here. We can't. What can we connect all of those elements to one and sort of present to the audience that indeed there's something here we need to be in today's world, maybe looking at it differently, but the message still remains the same. It's an advanced world, and we have hope. Without that, we're like literally walking around like the fisherman and his 12 disciples.
Well, if you think about it like this, if we don't repeat what we've done in history,
mm-hmm.
we will actually have a better society.
Wars and
wars, epidemics,
yeah,
creation of new technology that's going to create our own problems.
Yeah.
That's where the atomic bomb came from. We created something for war, but it created different kinds of havoc.
And Anthony, if you notice, I said it several times on this channel that the atomic bomb was dropped twice in August of 1945 on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, when the war was officially already over. There was no need to actually drop the bomb to prove anything other than that the demonstration of power. Really, the war was over. They were extraditing the Emperor of Japan. It was over. They capitulated. It was signed, and the bombs were dropped for no reason. You see, that's the thing. What is your opinion of that?
It's spiteful.
Unnecessarily dropping bombs for like, isn't this horrific to be incinerating those people for no reason when the war was officially over? That means no war action could be done. What is your take on that?
Somebody higher up must have pushed the button.
It was
first,
Harry Truman who approved. Harry Truman was the one.
While it was already being signed off to be canceled.
Exactly. But what do you call that? Isn't that a crime against?
That's a crime against humanity at that point.
Yeah.
It's not something that you should do, and our government's done it so many times past, over and over and over again.
It was August of 1945.
Just recently, our new president pushed a button to drop bombs over in another country.
Yep. Yeah.
After we've already stopped the war.
Yep. Yeah.
Now we created a new problem.
Yeah.
This is what I was talking about, being hypothetical, where we are creating and repeating our own problem.
Yeah. It's the demonstration of power.
There is no need for demonstration of power.
But they do it every so often. I mean, it's almost.
What's the cost of human lives to show off that you're the big man?
See, that's the part that is probably for regular folks would be very hard to understand. But once you get to that level, it's like what they say: new levels, new devils. They have no concept of paying of the bills. They have people taking care of that. The only way they can sort of show off their power is like that. It's hard for most people to understand what they're going through, on a daily basis. Like, they have everything they could possibly want, the security,
if you have all the weight of one the government on one shoulder, and you have all the society of the people that you got to take care of on the other shoulder, what's going to weigh down first?
That's a good question.
Because you've got many people to take care of, but you also have your other people that you got to make sure that they're happy, and you got to make money for them, because they're the ones who fund everything, not the people.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. In 1913, when the first income tax was introduced only on the federal employees temporarily to just drum up some money, federal employees only, not the rest of the population. In the United States, 1913, it was like 1 or 2% income tax, and they said it would be temporary. It was not. It was increased gradually, and then everybody got included into the pool to contribute. And what they were waiting for is actually for people to rebel and say, no, you said it was temporary, let's cancel it. It didn't happen. People continued to pay the income tax, and then eventually, I don't know, Anthony, if you have the statistic or no, this is all verifiable, but eventually by the 1940s, it was gradually being hiked every couple of years. It got to 97%, and people were paying income taxes, but they were finding ways of not pay it, of course. What is your opinion on that, as far as the 97% of what we're dealing with now? Today it's like, it's 1913, they just introduced it as temporary fact. Now it's same kind of it's almost like we want to be the free society, the democracy, but we're almost like we're enslaved by everything out there. But it's not the shackles physical, it's the financial shackles. No matter what we do, we can't breathe.
That's what our credit system is for. That's our shackle.
Yeah. Plus taxation and plus everything else, right?
No, that's what the credit system is mainly for, is our shackles. We can't do anything without credit.
Yeah.
You
yeah.
cannot buy a house. You cannot rent a house. You
Yeah.
cannot rent an apartment. You cannot buy a car. You cannot lease a car.
Yeah.
You cannot buy anything without credit.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what draws everybody to be stuck into a situation where everybody has what they call good credit. It's because they have more money to back up that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And there's that poverty line. Our poverty line is so low in certain areas of the United States and other parts of the world where we can't do anything. That's why we have so many people that go against the system and basically rob and steal from other people and kill for pennies.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah, yeah. Well, in New York City, New York State, the taxation got up at this point, at the time of this recording, to 62%. And besides, cumulatively, with all the taxes combined, California, 57%. In most Scandinavian countries that are socialistic, it's 50%, period. That's the max. And they get free education, free healthcare and everything else. So here, it's gotten, in New York, people are evacuating because of the 62%. And Anthony, in New York State, if you happen to have a large estate to leave to your heirs, to your children, it's 1%. The rest is taken by the state. So the probate court, to probate, takes 99%. So let's say if somebody wealthy who has $100 million at the time of death, the children can only get $1 million, and $99 million will be taken by the probate will take the 99%. Now, what do you call that?
That is a ridiculous system.
Tyrannical system?
Yep.
Yeah. And so this is what people in New York City are dealing with. They are aware of it. People in other states don't know much about it because it's not the same. So New York, California, 57%, and in New York, 62%. So if you, just imagine in your shoes, if you were in their shoes, right? If you lived in New York, 62%. If you had an inheritance to leave for your children, they would only get 1%. This is how the system is rigged. This is why they have these trusts and other creative ways of sort of
roundabout
going around it, because it's not human. We've gotten to the point where we're being essentially, this is not freedom, is what I'm saying. It looks like it's beautiful and everything, but in reality, we're shackled.
Ourselves.
Exactly. So what's the solution, Anthony? How would you resolve all these issues with taxation, the inheritance tax, and everything else?
Well, wouldn't it be easier if you would give people options? Wouldn't it be easier to essentially talk to the populace and say, okay, so we have a voting system on our presidency, we have a voting system on our candidates on governments and stuff like that. Why don't we have a voting system for what we do with our taxation system? Why don't we have a voting system for our income taxes and stuff like that?
They don't. They vote internally, and the decisions.
Vote internally. They don't let the populace actually help with that, because the populace is actually not even part of any of this. Our government is actually just funded by everybody else that's part of the government. We don't have any control, and when we go to vote on a president, we don't actually have control of it.
And the most important thing, Anthony, I'm sure you probably have been analyzing it in your mind, but the so-called cryptocurrency is not crypto and is not currency. It's considered by the IRS as an asset, just like real estate.
It is now considered as an asset.
And it's taxed when you buy quote-unquote cryptocurrency, let's say Bitcoin or any other. Now imagine the misnomer, quote-unquote misnomer, they call it cryptocurrency. It's neither crypto, it's because they know they have to have your social security number, they have to know where you live. So it's not crypto, it's not anonymous, it's not private. So how could so many people be, beguiled and bamboozled like that they don't even understand? By giving up their social security number, they automatically are flagged to be taxed by the IRS. They think it's still crypto. Like, they don't understand that. Anthony, what are your thoughts on this? How stupid people are, really?
That's where everybody doesn't need to when everybody pays attention when they're filling out information,
Yeah.
they need to look at all of it.
Yeah.
They need to think about what is about to happen when you go and place a bid on something.
Yeah. Yeah.
When you buy something, you're paying tax for it, no matter what it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where it's from.
But imagine if people think in their minds this is cryptocurrency. It's not.
It isn't.
And how, like you and I you're two intelligent people, we're talking, we're discussing this, and we understand this, they don't. So it's almost like there's this dividing line between those who understand certain things and those who never will.
Well, that's where we had back in the 50s and 60s where people were wearing tinfoil hats.
Yep.
Because they were afraid that the U.S. government was sending out mind control.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there was, that's basically actually partially what was going on.
It was in this.
That's why we have a certain system over there in California that the U.S. government funded that actually is partially of weather control.
Thank you. That was going to be my next topic. See, weather control, man-made weather control. People think this is like folklore, but it's not. It's technology that exists today.
Technology that has existed for many centuries.
Yep. Yeah.
That's where that technology that we were talking about a little bit ago in the Vatican. There is actually more than one version of that technology laid about the world.
So let's move from cryptocurrency to this weather technology, Anthony. You have a brilliant mind. So any sort of a question I bring up, you're able to sort of debate it or discuss it when most people, they never even thought about it. So weather technology, or weather control, man-made weather control. So since from my sources, I know since the 1970s, both the United States and the Soviet Union they were actively investing in testing this technology to be able to, unfortunately, to destroy each other's economies with, meaning, the U.S. against the Soviet Union, vice versa, right? So, and they have somehow succeeded to a certain degree. So, question for you, I'm going to pose this question and let the audience enjoy this conversation. Anthony, do you believe that every hurricane that we see in Florida that hits the coast, like Elma, the Katrina and everything else, is actually somebody's controlling that, or is just an accidental hurricane that lashes on the shores of Florida?
Well, most of those are actually nature-made.
Okay.
Some of them, where they're just out of nowhere, are probably man-made.
Okay.
Just like the what would you call it? The tsunami that hit California a long time ago.
Yeah.
And stuff like that.
Yeah.
That was man-made.
Okay.
What
year was that in?
I don't remember. It's been a while.
No.
There was I heard about that a long time ago.
Okay. But how do we sort of distinguish or prepare? Is there any way to escape it if it's a man-made?
It's like this. You remember what happened earlier last year with Texas getting a random freak snowstorm?
Snowstorm, freezing, yeah, sub-zero, yeah.
Really, really strange snowstorm that never hits Texas.
Yeah.
Well, that was their system.
Yeah.
They were testing.
They were testing to see what happens. Yeah.
They were testing their system because California never gets snow.
Important question here. This is kind of like everybody wants to know. So, militarily, it's statistics. Actually, I'm only quoting. This might be a shock to some of our listeners, but number one is actually both quantitatively and the equipment-wise and the funding for the military is actually China. Then goes India. Then the United States. Then actually right below the United States, this is crazy, but it's actually North Korea. And then after that, you might think, well, Russia. No. After North Korea, only after North Korea is Russia. And then everybody else, like the Great Britain, Germany, and everybody else, right? So how could this be? We're teasing the people in North Korea. We paint a picture as if they're like these primitive, economically poor country. They're number 4. They're above Russia. Above. Militarily, the training, the equipment, the number of nuclear warheads. It's insane. So we were poking the tiger's rear end, so to speak, all this time, and they were telling us, openly, we're going to bomb you, nuclear. We're going to use nuclear. Talk about a little bit about that. How dangerous is North Korea in terms of poking at them and saying, look, just do this or else we're going to mess with you. I mean,